Humans don't have a physiological need to sleep. Over time, chemical levels of adenosine build up which cause the sleepy feeling, but that is simply a trigger designed to force our bodies to rest. Some scientists have theorized that this is an evolutionary mechanism intended to prevent us from wasting unnecessary energy while keeping us hidden during the night. Well, there isn't any shortage of calories to consume, and there's nothing going to eat me in the night, so as far as I'm concerned, sleep is just an antiquated fetter which humans should leave behind. We don't need sleep to live, but we cannot survive without dreaming. And if you stay awake for long enough, you'll start to dream even while awake. The more you try to fight those dreams, the more real they will become. Pretty soon, you can't tell which is the dream and which is real, or whether there is a difference at all. That's the story I told the police, and my attorney, and it's the story I'm sticking with now. It started when I read an article in my psychology class about this Vietnamese insomniac named Thai Ngoc who hasn't slept in 43 years. It said he had some kind of fever, and then never felt the urge to sleep again. Even working full time, it's like he has a vacation every night. 51 sleepless nights. 110. I don't know about you, but for a stressed out college student always trying to cram for the latest test, that sounded like a lifesaver. I'm paying my own way through college with a work-study program, and trying to maintain a social life in the half-hour break I have between class and work is absolutely impossible. I'm tired, and stressed, and missing out on what is supposed to be the best years of my life because I never have a free moment to be myself. If I could find a way to waste less time sleeping though, maybe things would get better. I did some more reading and became obsessed with the idea. If we sleep for 8 hours and are awake 16, then eliminating sleep would be equivalent to adding around 40 years to my lifespan, assuming an 80-year life. I found some studies about a drug being tested on mice called Orexin A which was supposed to completely eliminate the need for sleep. It hadn't been approved for human trials yet, but there weren't any negative side effects found in the mice. If anything, they seemed more active than ever. And the best part was, research for this drug was being done right at UCLA where I go to school. Well, I was able to find where the lab was easily enough, although I didn't expect them to just hand me the chemicals. I tried to get an internship there, but they required at least 20 hours a week, and I couldn't even begin to fit that into my schedule. I forgot about the whole thing until I overheard Ricky, one of the other kids in my psych class, mentioning that he got the internship. Ricky was boasting about using the keys to sneak into the lab at night to get high off the anesthesia they used on rats. If he doesn't sound like an idiot yet, then add a tank top that says I party with sluts, a hat with the Obey sticker, and a skateboard which he carries around to look cool but doesn't know how to ride. You got the idea. Tobias Wade, COM 111, but that was fine with me, because it made it a simple matter to pretend to be his friend. All I had to do was turn my hat backward, make a couple dumb jokes about the blonde sitting in front, high-five him when she bent over, and voila. Suddenly we were bros. Future of American science right here. It didn't take many hints before he invited me into the lab. I found where the Orexin experiments were just by looking up the faculty directory in charge, and before my buddy finished coming down from huffing anesthesia, I had a whole backpack full of the little spray bottles of Orexin. It was nasally administered, but I didn't care as long as it worked. And holy hell, it worked alright. 20 squirts up each nostril seemed like a lot, but I controlled the dosage to 1 mg/kg body weight, which was equivalent to the dose the mice were getting. I played Skyrim straight into the dawn. Okay, so it wasn't quite self-actualization, but I hadn't had any free time in a while, and it felt great to have the constant pressure off me. The night was so quiet, and by the early morning it felt like the entire world was made just for me. I didn't even feel tired until the following night, and I just took another dose and all the weariness washed away. I spent the second night reading Shakespeare just for fun. How else would anyone ever have the time for that? There was so much to do and learn about the world, and finally I had the chance to see it all. It was the best thing I could have ever hoped for. The one thing the mice hadn't mentioned during their experiments, however, was that you can still dream without sleeping. They started on the third day, little visual abnormalities that danced around the corner of my vision. Patterns, or shapes, or textures just drifting idly by. I actually enjoyed them at first, but the longer I went without sleep, the more real they became. By the fifth day, I actually started seeing 51 sleepless nights. 112 fully formed people walking alongside me. They were always in my peripheral vision, and as soon as I turned to face them, they disappeared. It was the evening of the sixth day when I opened my bedroom to see a smiling figure sitting on my bed. It didn't even have a face, just teeth which wrapped all the way up around up to where its ears should be. I splashed cold water in my face and the thing disappeared, but it still freaked me out. I decided to take a break from the drug then, but even without it, I couldn't sleep that night. There must have still been some in my system. I tossed and turned, and every time I got up, that figure with the teeth was there watching me. Every time I jolted myself awake, it would linger a little longer in my room, just silently smiling. I managed to get through the next day, still off the drug, and still seeing the creature out of the corner of my eye wherever I looked. I got used to him though and even began to nod off during the psych lecture. After class, I decided to call in sick from work and just go sleep. Ricky was trying to talk to me, but I was so tired I couldn't even figure out what he was saying. It was hard to even look at him with the creature standing next to us. I just mumbled something and turned to leave, but the idiot kept following me. I shouldn't have shoved him, but I was so tired I couldn't deal with pretending to be his friend anymore. He stumbled back a few paces, right into the smiling creature. The weirdest thing was, I swear he bounced off the creature and looked over his shoulder. It seemed stupid to think he could see my dream, but I was so tired I wasn't thinking straight. I just bolted and ran. Ricky was still following me though he was insistent. Tobias Wade, Com 113 something about there being a security camera at the lab. That we had to get our story straight about what we were doing there. I don't know. I just wanted to get home. I just wanted to sleep. I ducked into an alley between the psych and sociology buildings, but I couldn't lose him. He grabbed my shoulder and pulled me to the ground, and I didn't have the strength to fight him off. I was too tired to get up, so I just lay there and let him yell at me. My mind was so numb with exhaustion, even the sound of his shouting faded into a gentle white noise, and I must have fallen asleep right there on the ground. His body was mangled almost beyond recognition. The police told me there were witnesses who saw me jump on top of Ricky and bite his face into a bloody pulp. They said I had some kind of inhuman strength, and that it took almost a dozen people to drag me off him. They said I hurled him like a rag doll into the building, dislocating both his shoulders and smashing one of the bricks into powder. I don't know how I could have done it while I was asleep. All I know is that when I was about to drift off, I saw my creature standing behind Ricky, and the last thing I saw before closing my eyes was its teeth sinking into his neck. The court blamed the incident on the drug and I've been transferred to a rehab clinic. It's been 4 days since I've last taken Orexin, but the creature hasn't gone away. Every time I close my eyes, it's sitting a little closer. Sooner or later I'm going to fall asleep, and it's going to take control again. I'm writing this because if I can't stay awake, I want someone out there to know. Don't blame me for what he does when I'm asleep. I'm fighting it for as long as I can.